you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon and welcome. As you heard, my name is Rose Sherman Williams. And before the Second World War, I lived in a city in Poland by the name of Radom. Had quite a large family and a very, very close family. Unfortunately, at this time, they're all deceased. My immediate family consisted of my father, who was in his early 40s in 1939. My mom was 2 years younger. Grandma came to live with us in 1938. Grandpa became sick of pneumonia, and in those years, we didn't have no penicillin like now. And so we lost Grandpa in 1938. And my father insisted Grandma come and live with us. In 1939, I have a brother that was 17 years old. I was 12 years old. I had a little sister 10 years old, and a little brother 7 years old. Like I said before, they're all deceased. On September the 1st, Germany invaded Poland and my city of Radom. Within a very, very short time of being occupied by the Germans, the life for the Jewish people became almost unbearable. Daily they came out with different posters. First on the agenda was no Jewish child can get a public education. All schooling was prohibited. Next they came out, you had to wear an armband with a Jewish star, something similar like this. Afterwards they came out, they went to City Hall, got the name of all Jewish people. Radom had a population of about 130,000, 30,000 of them being Jewish. It came out with a new poster. If you had a radio in your possession, you had to take it to City Hall. Now that they were in possession of all our names and addresses, they would come to your house and search. If they found a radio, they would either imprison you or shoot you right then and there and help themselves to whatever they want. Hunger was getting so bad that when you wanted a bread, you had to get up at midnight, stay all night long at the bakery. If you were lucky enough not to be recognized, you might have purchased the bread. If you were recognized, they would pull you out of line, beat you up, and even sometimes shoot you, believe it or not. On and on, horrible atrocities were happening. People disappeared. We never heard from them again. After a while, they came out with a new poster that they're going to build a ghetto. The street where we lived did not belong to the ghetto. And so we got a letter from City Hall. We had to leave our home in 1 hour. Can you imagine a home you've lived all your life? If you would have told you had to leave your home in 1 hour, what would you take? It was such a difficult situation. Grandma tried to put 3-4 dresses on us girl. Dad tried to put 3-4 pair pants on the little one. The beauty part about was we had some wonderful, wonderful Gentile neighbors. And they came in asking my father what they could do to help, offering to take us 4 children and hide us out till after the war. They took a minute to sit down with us, asking us would we like to stay with our neighbor. And from the little one to the oldest one, we all start crying in such a mood with the suitcases, backpacks, pillowcases, no transportation. We walked towards the ghetto. When we walked in and there, we didn't even have a room allotted. They gave us an empty basement. Oh my God, no water, no heat, no toilet. Dad was handy and found some bricks and connected it to a chimney and built a little stove. After a day and a half, we were sitting on those blankets that we brought from home. Mom was finally able to warm up some water, clean us up, and fix us something to eat. Life in the ghetto was nothing but sickness, and hunger was so rampant. Every morning, a quarter of Germans would come into the ghetto. In the ghetto also they made smaller offices, something like City Hall, with Jewish police. And the German would come in asking for a quarter of people to go to work. In the beginning, everybody was more than willing to go voluntarily, because if you had a chance to get out from the ghetto, you had a chance to purchase some bread or food and bring it back to the ghetto. But after a while, people started hiding out, not wanting to go to work for the Germans. We were wondering what happened. What we found out was that they mistreated the people so badly that they would rather hide out and be hungry than go out. My father was very, very religious. Every morning in a designated room, he would get people together and they would pray every morning. One day, going home from his prayers, he got caught by the Germans to go to work. We were so scared because people disappeared. We never heard from them again. We didn't know what happened to our father. But after a while, we found out that he just went to work and should be back in the evening. Our wonderful neighbors continuously risked their life, coming to the gates from the ghetto, bringing us a little something every few days. My father continuously begged us children to tell our wonderful neighbors not to risk their lives, not to take any chances, to please not to do it, not to come. Because God forbid, if something would happen, if they would get caught by the Polish police or the Germans, they wouldn't ask any questions. They might just imprison him or just even kill him. But in spite of it, those wonderful neighbors continuously risked their life. As we were standing at the gate with our wonderful neighbors, we saw our father walking in. His shirt full of blood, his beard all torn apart, that had a short beard, and the chin was all broken up, full of blood, the shirt full of blood. We went to our dad. Daddy, what happened? He told us he went over to a German asking for some rags. They needed to do some cleaning. And the German grabbed his beard and pulled it for such a long time till he completely pulled out some meat from his chin. And that's when the disruption and all that blood. After that episode between my brother and my father, they decided they're going to dig a hole deep enough in that basement, about 6 feet. We start carrying out the dirt at night, and we're going to put a barrel of water over it so it wouldn't look like there's a hole behind it. It took a period of almost 4 to 5 months. By that time, a new order came out that they're going to send some people away to some working camps due to the fact that people were continuously too many in the camp, and so they were going to send someone transportation out. 1 or 2 of the people who had left came back. 2 young men came back telling us they were able to escape, that those were no working camps. Those were liquidation camps. They would put the people into showers. Once the people were showered, they would put them into the crematorium to burn. We couldn't believe how can such atrocity be possible, but that was the truth and that was a fact. Those 2 people tried to go from house to house and warn us that we should try to protect ourselves and maybe not go like cows to the slaughter. But we said those 2 people are crazy. How can such atrocities be possible? But that was the truth, and that was a fact. That was actually what was happening. After a period of another 4 to 5 months, it was already August the 6th, 1942. A new order came out with new posters all over the ghetto that they're going to completely liquidate the ghetto. We were so uncertain. What should we do? Should we leave our 2 loved ones behind? Should we all go out? We decided maybe it's the truth this time, because continuously they fed us so many lies, we never know what was the truth and what was a lie. And so we all decided that night, August the 6th, 1942, to walk out. We all stayed in a line of 5. My grandmother was holding my hand and looked to the right. She saw the Germans were pulling our children from mother's arms, and mothers not wanting to give up their children. And so they would shoot the mother and throw the children on the racks. When my grandmother saw that, she loosened my hand and started running. I started running after her. Grandma, where you going? She said she was going to pick up those children. And I said, Grandma, don't you see what's going on? Please, let's go back in line, and try to push her with all my might. When the German noticed the commotion and come running, what's going on here? I said, nothing, sir, nothing, sir. He turned his rifle around and hit me real hard, middle of my head. I still have a bald spot here, never grew back. And the next thing I heard was a shot. He had shot my grandmother. It took me many, many years to be able to block out that vision from my mind. My grandmother laying at my feet and wondering how many people had stepped on the body of my grandmother and be unable to bury her. A wonderful director from the Holocaust Museum had approached me many a times to become a speaker for the school children. At the time she approached me, I had not found enough peace within myself. One of my oldest children, my oldest son, became sick of leukemia. He knew that I was a Holocaust survivor, but he didn't know my life story. Realizing I'm going to lose my son, I told him my story. He made me promise that I would tell it to my children and grandchildren. I promised, but it took me almost 20 years to finally be able to, through the wonderful director who continuously kept after me, to become a speaker for the school children. After that episode, August the 6th, I was completely separated from my parents, my family, over 50, 60 people, aunts, uncles, cousins, nephews, siblings. I was sent to the ammunition factory, still in Poland. Life was so difficult, hunger continuously. I kept on crying most of the time. Next to me was a wonderful lady by the name of Elsie. She was Polish descendant, but as a young lady, their parents emigrated to Germany. When Hitler came to power, those were the first people they sent back to Poland. And she was next to me. Continuously, she begged me, Rose, don't cry. Maybe one day we will go back to Poland, Radom. We will find our parents, our siblings, continuously encouraging me, but I continually cried. I cannot explain how very difficult it is to bear days to go without food. And I'm sure as young as you all are, in order to make a bomb, you need alcohol. The factory had quite a lot. Some people were able to bribe the sentries. And when they were on duty, some people helped themselves to some alcohol. We were all been brought up to know to steal is a sin. But when you're dead hungry, you pray to God and hope God will forgive you for the sin you're going to do. And so some people who had bribed those sentries would help themselves to some alcohol. Usually we were always told when an inspection was due. But that night I was on 3 to 11 shift. We were not told anything. When we were ready to leave, we went through the first sentries, we were fine. Went to second sentry, we were fine. When we got to the third one, 3 huge assessments were standing with a whip, beating us, not knowing that some of the people might have alcohol on them. When the people realized it's an inspection, they start throwing that alcohol away. And the oldest of the German said, start counting. Get all the people back in. And every 11th person was told to get to the right. The 10 people were going to the left. They took out 27 people that night. We were 270 people. The next morning, those 20 people that were taken out the night before were hanged. We had to stay close to 2 days, no matter what the condition it was. We couldn't look down. God forbid if the German noticed you looking down, you would feel the whip on your back. We had to stay and look up at those hanged 27 people for almost close to 2 days. No food, no water. Our beauty was the night that we could run into the woods and relieve ourselves and grab some snow to our parched lips. After that episode, it was almost the end of 1943, the beginning of 1944. We were told we were going to be sent out, and this time our destination was going to be Auschwitz. We had to walk on foot for 18 kilometers. When we got to the train, they would push 80 to 90 people in a wagon. That would tell the most, 20 the most. They gave us 2 pails to relieve ourselves. We were so tight in there that if you tried to get to those pails, you were either suffocated or remained standing. The smell alone in those wagons could have killed you. We were going back and forth for 3 days. When they finally reached Auschwitz, when they opened the doors, 1/4 of the people were dead. They told us we had to leave everything behind. Elsie and I, we didn't have much. I still had some pictures for my family. Some boots, warm ones, and some change of clothing. But we were told we had to leave everything behind. I tried to hold on to my boots with all my might. They were taken away by force. It wasn't like here. You could go into any department store and buy whatever shoe you want. In those years, everything had to be made to measure. And so my dad would take us 2, 3 times through the year to a shoemaker. And I tried to hold on to that boots, but by force were taken away. And given us some wooden holidays shoes with the wooden soles that were so hard. Big people would get small sizes, small people would get big sizes. Afterwards, we were told we had to go into showers. We were so scared that gas might come out. But no, they showed us that water did. Once we were showered, all women's hair was cut. We were all bereft of our names. We were given a tattoo, which I still carry on my arm. My name from then on was 15A49. God forbid if I didn't hear my name called. There was my name, A15049. And like I said, if they called your name, you didn't hear, you might gotten such a beating and sometimes even being killed for just that you didn't hear. After being a period there with those horrible shoes, I continuously had to stop and knock the snow off and continuously gotten beaten with a whip. And one day I decided to grab those Hollandaise shoes and throw them away. What a mistake. At the time, I was already 15 years old and knew better. In no time, my feet got so ulcerated that I decided to end my life. Every few days, a doctor by the name of Mengele would go through our lines. The people that he put to the right had still a chance to live. The people he put to the left would go to the crematorium. I made up my mind without telling Elsie what I was going to do. And when he got to me, sure enough, with the stick, he pushed me to the right. I raised my hand. He said, "What is it?" I said, "Sir, could I go to the left?" He didn't look at my feet or my legs. He looked at my face. And with a stick, he said, "You're still young. You still can live." And I thank God for saving me and God leading me out, that I can still be here and telling you my story. After that episode, a period of maybe a month or so, we usually stayed most of the time in a cold room. But when they send us to work, they send us to carry stones from one place to the other. The men usually came to us to pick up their kettles of food. Always the kitchen were on the woman's side. And they would bring us notices from people in the little pieces of paper and give it to one of the girls from the kitchen. "Have you seen that person? Or do you know of that person?" And somebody one day was trying to pull a little piece of paper in my hand. When I tried to catch it, it was so fast I couldn't. After a few days, somebody else tried to do the same, but I was able to catch it. Oh my God, when I had the chance to read it, my little sister had survived Mauthausen and was over there for a few months. But how in the world can I be united with her? Elsie knew somebody in the barrack that my sister was, and was able to convince him to get 2 people out from my sister's barrack into mine. How can I describe to you people the beauty of that night, knowing that I had no one to find the siblings? My whole attitude, my belief in God, it strengthened so much. There is a God. It reunited me with my little sister. I'm not alone. And so from then on, we promised each other we would be together and never part again. After a period of another 3 months, a new order came out that the Russians are bombarding heavily. We're going to be sent out to Germany. And this time, our destination was Hindenburg. When we got there, a German asked for 10 people who spoke German. Elsie raised her hand. And I saw her raise her hand. I raised mine as well. She turned around angry at me. "Do you speak German?" And I started crying. She said, "Cut out that nonsense. You better look for a piece of paper and a pencil to write those 10 words down. Maybe if you have 100 words, maybe you'll be able to make 2 sentences. I immediately tried to look for some paper and pencil, but I found some paper, but no pencil. But one of the ladies had a little piece of lipstick. I wrote down those 10 words, but there too I found a lipstick, a pen. And I was able to write down those 10 words. You might not believe it, it took me less than 10 days to memorize those 100 words. I speak it now German fluently. as well as 4 different languages. After that episode, a very short time we were there, we were told that the Russians are bombarding heavily. It was almost the end of 44, starting to begin the 1945, when we were told again, we're going to be sent out. And it's almost impossible to describe to you people the atrocities that were happening in Bergen-Belsen. Lice, mice, the hygienic condition completely unknown. 2 hours of water, if you were lucky enough to grab it, somebody knocked it out. It's almost impossible to describe those conditions and to be able to survive. I myself, who have lived it, have asked myself that question. I never could find an answer. After maybe a period of another 3 months, it was April 15, 1945, when a big tank drove into our camp, claiming the English, they're our liberators, and they're going to shower us and burn our camp down and move us over where the German had escaped. And sure enough, they did all that. Different organizations from all over, doctors, nurses, would come into our camp asking where we would like to go. My sister, who at the time was 15 years old, I was already 17 and Elsie was in her 40s. And so when she was asked if she would like to go to the United States with the children transport, she agreed. But when her visa came in, she realized that neither I nor Elsie can go with her. And so she declined. After a while, we had word by mouth that my brother had survived Mauthausen and was trying to get to us. Transportation was very difficult. All trains were beaten up. Gas you could hardly get. And so on foot and some rides, my brother made it to Bergen-Belsen. When he arrived, my God, I threw myself at him, kissing him, hugging him. And my first word was, our sister could have been in the United States and declined. He said, is that the greeting you're giving me? I said, oh, I'm sorry, I'll start crying. He said, all right, we're all gonna go back to Stuttgart. President Truman was president at the time. President Eisenhower was 5-star general. And he got orders from President Truman to make room for displaced persons. And so my brother got a beautiful home with some friends in Stuttgart. He said, we're all gonna go back there. This American zone is so much better. And sure enough, we all walked back. And in 1946, my sister was able to leave the United States and come to the United States of America, New York. I myself and Elsie and my brother, we registered with the American consulate. What they find out, I weighed at 87 pounds and was ill. I was put in the hospital. My brother, they found out, had TB and could never come to the United States. They sent him to a sanatorium in the mountains. After a period of 2 years, he still wasn't well. But some scout would smuggle him out to Israel. Israel was not a country at the time, and we promised we would all go there, but he left me a letter behind, and he took off. And so Elsie and I, we registered with the American consulate, and it took us another 2 years till we were able to come to the United States. I hope what happened to me never happens again. We lost 6 million people, 1.5 million children. And I hope with all my heart it never happens again. I want to thank you all so very, very much to listen to my story. And God bless you all. But I want to tell you something. We never know what tomorrow might bring. So when you go home tonight, tell your loved ones how much they mean to you. We never know when we might get another chance. To my high school children and school children, I want to tell you, the main thing, don't be bystanders. Maybe if we didn't have no bystanders, what happened maybe might have not had happened. And the main thing is, don't ever give up. We have such a wonderful parents, but sometimes, even as children, we cannot always go to our parents. But we have such a wonderful counselors, teachers. The main thing, believe in yourself. Don't give up. Without education, you are practically nothing. Education will bring you good luck and a lot of success. And so from the bottom of my heart, I wish you all success in life. Don't be shy. Ask questions. If you're shy and don't ask, you can never find out. Believe in yourselves and don't give up. Thank you so very, very much for all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Also, I want to thank Senor William de Soto, Dr. William de Soto, for organizing this so that we all can be here. Without him, I don't know if it would have been possible to do it. We need for us to know what's going on, not only in the United States, but also in South America, South America, and in the United American States. Y por profundidad de mi corazón, quieren que sepan qué honor es para mí de conocer al señor Ramón de Soto. Y quiero agradecerles todos por la venida y por tenerme aquí para poder decirle mi charla. Tantas gracias por todo y que Dios los bendiga. Thank you.